What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Anthony. Welcome to the Blue Circuit. And today we're going to talk about why did I choose to get the LUMIX S9 as my first full frame camera here for you guys. And this video going to be completely different than any other video that you've seen on YouTube, because when I was researching for this particular camera, or all cameras in general, you know, they was getting into their feelings and getting very deep into the review, talking about no EVF and no mechanical shutter and all that. Pretty much it was like speaking way above my head, because I'm not that type of creator when it comes to like cameras. I don't know all the details. I'm willing to learn because my background is engineer, but I'm willing to learn about the camera. I've been in the YouTube space for about, I would say about 7 years, 8 years total, even though this channel that you guys watching me on for the first time is completely new. But I've been in the car space doing car content for about like 4 or 5 years, 6 years, I would say. 6 years, I would say, because I've been switching platforms. But I've been in the YouTube space, so I got a good foundation, understanding, and plus, this is like my very first one I would consider like professional or a hybrid camera in my space, which I'm going to share with you guys on why I decided to choose this particular setup. Because when I started YouTube, I'm the type of person that I start with the bare minimums and then work myself up. Because when I first started, I was using my iPhone. I think it was like 7 or 8 at the time. I can't really remember. And then I moved up into the Sony ZV-1, which that is what I'm recording this on, so I can show you guys my full frame camera. And then after that, after I use it and the quality that you guys see, after I color graded and everything, this is what you get. But out of this camera, it's a total game changer. Like the background blur and everything is a game changer. And just pictures alone, this is one hell of a camera, but we'll get into that later. So why did I choose to get the LUMIX S9 over the Sony ZV-1 E10 or the Sony ZV-E1 or the A6700 and all those different Sony cameras, right? Because I'm not gonna say like I'm a Sony fanboy, but I noticed within the market that was being pushed onto consumers. Sony. I randomly stumbled across this and this fit my budget, and that's going to be the very first thing that we talk about is budget. For the market, Panasonic LUMIX S9 is one of the best full frame cameras that you can get in the market. Why? Because you're not going to find nothing in its space that is full frame with this type of sensor in here that you can get, and you can get a lovely 20 by 60 millimeter lens. That's just something that you can get out the door for. I caught this combo, this setup on sale, shipped to my door for $1,500. So if you guys do some digging out there and don't go directly to the site or Amazon, you'll be able to find some good deals like I did finding these brand. Well, these wasn't new, but these was, I would consider new because they was in excellent condition. I literally meant like someone shipped it to their house and probably did like a product review or something like that, and they decided to send it back, you know. So that's what we're going to talk about there. So budget. So for this setup right here is $1,500. Usually for this particular setup that I have without the 20-60 millimeter lens, it usually comes with the 18 by 40 lens. So that's something I did not get, even though the 18 will look good. Since I do talking head videos like this, and since I do vlogs, I figured the 20 would be good, especially with the hybrid zoom. That's a feature that I really like in this camera, because it actually extends it a lot further and make the lens feel a lot bigger than what it is. So the budget, I would say, is like the very first thing that attracted me to this camera. The very second thing is that coming from a Sony V1, I'm a Sony V1 user. Like, so, and the bare minimum, like the things that people was really complaining about in the review really didn't match up to me. For example, like no EVF. Like if you look at the Sony ZV-1 that I'm filming on now, and I have pictures on the screen or videos, it doesn't have an EVF, mechanical shutter. To me, like that'll register with me, because I don't know if this has a mechanical shutter. Probably don't, because a regular point and shoot camera that shoots well, that shoots 4K 24 and 4K 30. And this here Shoots 4K 24, 4K 30, 4K 60, I believe. It shoots 6K open gate, 3.3K. Like, this has a lot of like video quality that will last me for a very long time, for a couple years for sure. At least lock me in for 5 years. So that's something else I like about this camera. Also, the second thing that we're gonna go down, since we talked about the budget, is the interchangeable lens. First time, excuse me, that I ever had a camera where I had interchangeable lens. And the reason why I decided to move up to this particular setup is because, based on my point and shoot camera, I noticed that I started getting into more photography. I do have 2 boys, so the point and shoot camera pretty much exceeded my dad cam type of vibe, because when I noticed I started taking pictures, especially not too long ago, the quality was there, but when I got to like color grading and zooming in, I can tell like it was getting a little bit noisy and stuff like that. So I decided to this is what lead me towards like getting a camera. The main reason why I was going for Sony is for the IBIS, the image body stabilization. Well, when I started doing reviews and looking into this camera right here has, if not the same, better image stabilization compared to the Sony ZV-1. And this is a very small camera, so I'm comparing this camera up to the higher trim levels. We talking about not the Sony ZV E10 that they brag about. They say content creator camera. Like, for standstills, videos like this is okay, but if you're vlogging, that's not the camera. So I'll compare this camera to like the Sony ZV, well, to the Sony ZV-E1 or the 6700 series. So that's where this stacks up. But remember, the 6700 on the Sony, if I remember, is a aps-c camera. It's not full frame. So this pretty much jumps up to like the Sony lineup of the $2,200-$2,300 camera, and that's just for the body. That is what wins me over for this, because just the body alone is like $1,500, but I luckily got this camera body for $1,100. And yeah, just jumping up to that Sony just to get the same amount of image stabilization, same type of body, is like, that was a little bit outside the range for me, because for real, I just do content. I do car content, I do talking head content, I do vlogs and stuff like that. So eventually I feel like the higher you go up, I mean, it's just diminishing return on value. So outside the image stabilization and the budget, it would be the image quality. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, guys, like the image quality that I got out this camera, just shooting random pictures, random things, has been like phenomenal. And I like to start off with all my cameras with intelligent auto. So it's just whatever the camera decides to come in with, whatever it fits the scene. Before I do any type of manual focus, I want to see what the camera does itself. And this camera with this lens is phenomenal, and it's not that heavy, because comparing with the Sony ZV-1, like, it's a very small camera, but for me here, like, having a camera like this I can hold with my hand, like, this is nice. Like, it makes me look more professional. And I'm not gonna lie, this is what somebody don't talk about too, if you guys like first starting off with YouTube. It's like, when you get these point and shoot cameras, I feel like it's very hard to talk to the camera, talk to your viewers, because you're looking at this little small, like, it's very small. You're looking at the small little black dark hole, I would say, to communicate with them. And that was something that was like bothering me in the back of my mind. It was affecting my content, but it was more like bothering me, because whether I shot with a phone, I couldn't see myself. I couldn't see where the lens was. With this one, the point and shoot, I kind of had an idea where the lens was, but the screen was distracting, so I would kind of like look over here to see myself. With this, with the lens being so big, I can look directly into the lens and know that you're looking at me, and I don't have to worry about anything and stuff like that. So that is another pro that I'm noticing when you move up to like a camera this size, full frame or APS-C camera, because it's pretty much the lens that will make me more confident and make you look more attractive and confident when you out in public vlogging with something like this, because you're more focused, you're more zoned in and stuff like that. So another reason why I decide to get the LUMIX I keep saying Linux, engineer y'all, but Linux, Lumix, it kind of like rolls off the tongue at the same time, so excuse me if I say that. But the next thing I would say is the open 6 gate. This is one of the biggest things that really sold me over versus not getting a Sony platform, because one, I never heard of open gate before. 6K in a camera at this price point was phenomenal, but just hearing about open gate, I wonder what it was. And for me, I usually do YouTube, and then I have a nice little Instagram following, and then I'm trying to build it up on TikTok as well. So with me be able to just have, outside of me just doing this footage right here, I can be able to be modular and be able to like shrink the footage down to fit different platforms. This was a no-brainer for me right here, especially for me being a content creator, because that's pretty much what I do majority of the time. Like, I take pictures around with my family or whatever, but first and foremost, I do YouTube, I do Instagram, and I'm working on my TikTok to build that platform. So this right here was like a no-brainer, versus on the Sony side, they didn't have that. Now, Sony have all these different cameras, but it got to a point where it really didn't make sense to me, like why they have so many different ZV lineups just to do the same thing. I know I'm not a Sony fanboy. I know there's gonna be like, hey, people in the comments talking about, well, Sony can do this better, or you got the electronic viewfinder, you got the mechanical shutter and all of that. But honestly, like for me, just coming to full frame in general, like none of that stuff really mattered. Like based on what I started out with, like I didn't have no viewfinder. I didn't have none of the stuff that you guys that's like professional photographers are worrying about, like, because it don't really mean nothing. I feel like I can get the same amount of quality, I get the same amount of pictures and stuff just as the big YouTubers. I feel like that's more of a thing that you like to do, and I'm not going to impress that on you guys. And I'm planning on doing like daily vlogs on this channel and just letting you guys see like how powerful this camera is, because and what I'm learning, because I'm learning across the way. Like I'm about to be learning how to max out this 20 by 60 millimeter lens that I got here, which is big. It look like, my wife called it a coffee cup, because it do look like a coffee cup how big it is hanging off the body. But this is like a huge camera for her, but it's bigger than a Sony ZV-1, of course. But I feel like since I got big hands, I can handle something like this, and I feel extremely comfortable. Another reason why I decided to go with it is the form factor. It's small. Again, I came from a small camera. I've seen the other lineups from Canon to Nikon, so I did my research, and this attracted me more just in the small body frame, the 6700 frame. So really, when I'm looking at the different manufacturers, and I was actually looking at the Canon R50V, but when I started looking at all the different frames and the body styles and the lightweight, I kept going to the Lumix, but the salesman kept trying to force me on Sony, and that's what pushes me to look outside of Sony, because I'm like, wait a minute, there has to be something better than Sony, or what's the competitors like? And not too many people I know was talking about this camera here. And when I started doing my research on it and just looking at YouTube videos like Terry Warfield, I was looking at Kofi, I was looking at Matthew, I was looking at Peter McKinning, and a few other YouTubers I never heard of. My bad if I guys haven't missed you. Jeremiah Cook, and a few other YouTubers. That's just what I named off so far, because that's what I just watched recently regarding this. And yeah, I was like, man, nobody really talking about this camera like that. And yeah, again, they're talking about, you know, the common stuff, the body, and that's something else I must say. A lot of people get like real technical, saying like, hey, this is a poor body, like the body quality is not there. To me personally, the body is just as good as any Sony camera. I would say from 1500 down, or the Sony ZV-1. I really don't have no issues with the body of it. I know people complain about the buttons and so forth, but I don't see nothing, no problem with it. One thing I must say, that this screen here is very bright compared to what I'm used to here. But overall, I'm not gonna just like like beat a dead horse or just ramble on. There are some few things I also want to say that I like is I like this LUT feature, real-time LUT, so I can color grade on the fly, on the go, because I'm pretty much like a run and gun type of guy and just improve my workflow. This right here is it, and I'll say this is it for everybody if you into any type of content creation, because this camera here can go a long way, something that you can grow with. So if you guys enjoyed this video, y'all know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos as I'm about to be making this my new workhorse. So like that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.